What's up? It's Carol's daughter, and I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
What's up, guys? Rob here, Front Row Live Entertainment. I am reunited with Carol's daughter. It's been a long time since I last spoke to you. I think it was Violent that we were talking about. And I'm super excited just because like that evolution from Violent to now you've gone a long way. And I feel like you've also rediscovered yourself throughout that process. Can you talk to me a little bit about that process of getting to where you're at today musically, but also like you as a person and finding yourself in this music world?
Well, it has been such a long time, and I think you kind of nailed it when you said it is like a real progression, but it is rediscovering myself. I think if anyone has listened to the whole discography, like starting with the really old SoundCloud stuff, I think you can kind of tell exactly the point where like I stopped caring if I liked my own music. And then now I think I listened to a lot of people, what they told me, where it was like you can't do every genre. You have to pick a lane. You have to do this. And now this new music is like a true culmination of like all my tastes.
Yeah.
And it was kind of just like I can put all of these tastes into one project,
Right.
yeah.
Right. You have a way of being able to jump around in genres in a sense, but still make it sound like, oh, this is Carol's daughter. This is the music, right? Like, how did you figure out that like particular sound that creates your music, no matter how far right or how far left you kind of dive into the different genres?
I think there's always like a few things that keeps my music myself. Like I think my writing is like my biggest talent, right?
Yeah.
So I have found like now a new production sound kind of in the latest, single and project that I feel is the closest to my own taste, which is like incredibly satisfying and like rewarding to get to that place as an artist, because it just takes a lot of like practice and like knowing what you're talking about in studios to like
Yeah.
get there. So I think that's kind of how I've made the change, is like really just learning learning how to say no to people too, and like learning how to stick up for myself and being like, no, like this is whack. Like I'll be in a session and I'll have like written a full song, right? And I'll be like playing it on piano, guitar, whatever I wrote it on, and I'll be like, this is dope. And then I'll bring it into a session and like something will happen, A to B, something will happen, and I'll be like, all of a sudden this song is whack. Like it's whack. I don't know what happened. I had nothing to do with it though.
Yeah.
So, but that should never happen with the right people, And so it's just a real big learning curve, Like I was thrown into this industry like really young. So it's just a learning process.
And that's the thing too. You were really young when you started. So learning how to write on your own and learning how to write the way that you do today, like, how did you do that? I mean, was there a lot of like reading involved? Was there like just listening to other styles of music? Like, how did you learn to write the way that you do today?
This is actually one of my favorite questions because, well, I haven't answered it yet. And it's been like the main theme of this last year and my new stuff. So I guess I kind of figured out that it's not rocket science. I kind of figured out that it's not this like intangible thing that I have to wait for it to like come to me, which I always thought it was. But that was from like just my young naivety and just like not wanting to practice. But it's so true that like practice makes you so much better. Like I've written nonstop. Like I've literally spent the entire last year locked in my bedroom, crying, staying up till 5 a.m., writing, to the point where I'm like, okay, I think I've written actually too much. Like I need to go back and be like, all right, like let's flesh all these songs out. Like let's finish them. Let's promote them. But yeah, I take inspirations from like so many different things. I think the best thing is like inspiration, like artists that you really love. Sometimes I like to write pretending I'm somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, oh, just a great artist. Like, oh, I want to write a song that sounds like the Beatles. Oh, I want to write a song that sounds like Radiohead or this or that. And just trying to like emulate your own tastes, I think is how to like really go farther with your own writing, because a lot of artists can get stuck in the like same chord progressions, same like time signatures, and everything sounds the same. And I'm like so guilty of that too. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just trying new things.
At the same time, you did a really amazing rendition of Creep, and like you kind of made it your own. And I'm curious, like when you do something like that with a song that's already been established, already been, heard many times, how does that help you become even better or more creative in that space? Because you want, you still want to make it something new, right?
Hmm. Well, I think one of the best ways to also improve just in music, whether it be producing or writing or just honing your own taste, is by replicating something that's like already has a lot of substance to it. So
Mm,
you're not creating some, you don't have to create something great. It's like
right.
it's already created for you. You just have to like make it different. Or like
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of covers that sound exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like I'm
There was
just
no
not.
point to do
Yeah,
that.
like
Yeah.
why? Like I'll just listen to the original song, you know? So yeah, I think that I just kind of recently started producing, and one thing that I've been doing to like get good at that is
Mm,
by just trying to cover songs. Not like exactly, but having just an exact reference that you're like trying to copy, exact sounds you're trying to
yeah.
find. Like that all really helps with like technical skills and
Yeah.
just like that kind of stuff.
So the fact that now you've also evolved as a producer with
Well,
your own
let's
music, I
not
mean,
go.
you're getting there. You're getting
Let's
there.
not go there.
You're getting there. I
Like
mean,
hold your
the
horses.
but the fact that you're able to feel comfortable doing that, like I feel like that's already a big step. So as you move forward to this new material, this new single right now, like how much input did you have in the production aside from the songwriting?
Yeah, I think that's also another big difference with like my old music versus now is that I do understand a lot more of like
What
what's
is going
going
on?
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think too, I just didn't even trust myself. Like I just assumed, I was again thrown into this industry very
Yeah.
young. I signed on my 18th birthday.
Damn.
And I was in these rooms with all these guys who were so good at guitar, so good at instruments and blah 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 blah. And I just assumed to myself that like I didn't pick up guitar in sessions. Like I didn't play the piano in sessions. I
Mm,
didn't try and point things out or speak up when I was like I just don't like that. Like, those types of things if you don't speak up, it snowballs. It
yeah.
really, really snowballs. For the production of like Beautiful Girls,
Mm,
it's with one of my closest friends, Gabe, and we've been working together for a really long time. And that song specifically, I had heard. I was like obsessed with the song "A Thousand Blunts" by Suicide Boys at the
hmm.
time. And I was just like really obsessed with the way that they had like a little vocal sample that was like pretty consistent throughout the whole song.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I was just like, that's what makes this song so good. That's what makes this song so bumpable in the car. And so I wanted to like replicate that, like not exactly, but I wanted to make like a vocal sample
Hmm.
and have that be like the beat of the song. So that was like the original idea for like Beautiful Girls. And
Yeah.
so the production, it took us many, many days, like many, 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 many days. Rome was not built in a day. Okay. So yeah, like if people heard the first version of this song, it's unrecognizable, like
Wow.
unrecognizable because I think sometimes to like really push the needle, like it has to be bad. It has to be bad first. It has to be like not easily digestible. And you have
Yeah.
to be comfortable with that.
Yeah, no, that's good. And again, it's like it's just that part of like understanding and just being comfortable in that space, that element that you're in. The fact that the production took some time and you had different like versions of it, I guess you could say. Like,
Hmm.
what was it about this sound, this final version that you felt like was home? Like this was it.
I think that it was kind of a little like ode to my old music, a
Mm,
little ode to like that SoundCloud era with just kind of like trap elements and like 808s.
yeah.
And in my um the thing that makes violent, I think really like makes a lot of people gravitate towards violent is the fact that the lyrics are just so like emo,
Yeah.
girly, like sad, adorable. And then it has like these trap drums and hi-hats and it like bumps really hard. Like it. And so the same exact thing kind of with Beautiful Girls, where it's some really like sensitive
Mhm.
really sensitive subject matter, but I don't want people to be too sad,
Yeah.
like let's get lit. Like it's still fun.
Now talk to me about your vocals, because that's another evolution as well. Like learning to understand your voice. You started at a young age, and then your voice kind of changes along the way that you want to sing, or the way that you want to like just do the music in general just changes throughout the year. So how did you get to the vocals today, and how do you feel now when you're singing these vocals on your tracks?
Well, I think there has been a big evolution with my vocals, just in the fact that I've aged. So my voice does sound different, but also it doesn't really sound that different. I'm kind of making it sound different. My original, like, inspirations for vocalists, like my favorite vocalists are like the original like jazz, like the
Mm,
original women of jazz, like Nina Simone and
yeah.
like Etta James, and those really full bodied like voices that they did not make themselves sound like cute little girls.
Yeah.
Like they were women, like strong women singing. And also another one of my favorite vocalists is Karen Carpenter. So when I was growing up, I would always try to replicate their sounds, like a lot of vibrato, just like really beautiful singing.
Mm,
And now I feel like I've tapped into that with like my new music, since there's a big like jazz influence. It's not like pop vocals. It's
yeah.
and I think that that's something uh people kind of miss. Like no one likes the cursive singing. Like no, I was gonna do it, but like no one likes that. Like don't make me get violent. Like who wants to hear that? Nobody. Like so I think we need to bring back like full bodied, beautiful jazz,
Yeah.
low vocals, all like I love singing high. I have a good range, but singing low is really cool. So that's something
Yeah.
I've implemented like a little bit more. It's just that low, jazzy, cool vibe.
Yeah. Do you think about it when you're starting to write music, or does that just naturally happens now because that is the mindset that you have with your vocals?
I think it's kind of both. I mean, I definitely have started songs where in my head, I'm just like, just make this sound as jazzy, sultry, like cool as possible. Like, just try and sound like someone else. And
Yeah.
I really do sound like someone else. This is my natural, like, tone of speaking. But it's just crazy how you can kind of transform even your own person just based on your voice.
Yeah.
I think people will really like see that, and I don't know if they'll recognize my voice. That's something I've been wondering. I'm like, it does in some songs, it sounds so different, but
Mm.
also the same. So who knows?
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing like what the fans, what the audience think when they hear all the rest of the music. But as I said earlier, I feel like this is falling apart or falling into a body of work. Are you working on maybe like an EP, an album that these songs are going to fall in place with?
I'm definitely planning on an album. Um, Although I have so much music that I've heard the saying it takes a lifetime to make your first album
Yeah.
and then like 6 months to make your second one. So I think it's going to be like one of those moments where like, yeah, it is taking me a while,
But it's
but I
worth
have
every
so
second
much
and every minute of
stuff.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that I have to give myself grace because even like the biggest artists sometimes have like, a hiatus of 3-4 years,
Yeah.
and you have to live life to have something to write about.
Yeah.
So I definitely did that.
No, that's good. And lastly, to close us off, you had opportunities to go on tour with Machine Gun Kelly, Pierce DeVille, who I really love. Like those are two different types of tours. How did those tours kind of help you become a better performer? But what did you also learn from those two different styles of touring, or of tour cycles?
hmm I think opening in general is just like a beast of its own because you never know how that person's audience is going to react to you. Um, but I think I enjoyed both of them for like many different reasons.
Mm,
It was the MGK tour was I was thrown into the deep end. I had done literally an acoustic tour and
yeah,
that is it. And then my first show with MGK, I played 16,000 people.
that's scary.
So, yes, it was like I sometimes wish that I had been more of a confident performer like when I
Hmm.
went on tour with MGK, just because it was such a great opportunity, but things happen when they happen. And then Pierce the Veil was just like I felt like I was at home. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So the people that came to those shows they looked incredible.
Yeah.
Like, and I just felt like one of them because I was also like a fan of them since, middle school. And I was like, this is a dream come true. And both of those tours were just like amazing experiences.